Day, everybody. Thank you for attending. To get this thing started, I know that you think we're on a webinar, but like Charlie said, my deal is all about energy and enthusiasm. So no one's judging you right now. To get this thing started, everybody stand up. Wherever you are, stand up. I'm actually at the office right now. There's Stanley. So everybody stand up. I want you to just give me 2 claps at a Ric Flair when you can. So 2 claps at a Ric Flair at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Let's go. How is everybody doing? Did I get some woos? Did you give me, just let me know if you guys hear me. I just want to see some comments down below. Did you guys hear some woos?
We can hear it's blowing up. Woo!
Let's go. All right.
Yes, woo! We got Karen, Daniel, Lacey, Amanda, Jackie, Michelle, Holly. They're blowing it up, Paul. They're blowing it up.
I love it. Guys, listen, I have one goal and one goal only today. That goal is to provide you an interruption to your day. The world is just in absolute chaos right now. Everybody on this webinar has been impacted. We have individuals that I am certain on this webinar right now that work as attorneys, talk show radio hosts. We got individuals on the front line of our healthcare. Specifically, I know my Unity Point peeps are in the building. Thank you very much. We got speakers bureaus, and we got trade show specialists. We got stay-at-home moms. We got so many people in this audience right now that have been impacted by this pandemic. And so the point is, you're not alone. You think that you're alone, but you're absolutely not. And so as we progress, I have one goal. That goal is to provide you an interrupter to your day, to get you out of your head, to stop worrying about the stuff that's out of your control. You can't worry about revenue. You can't worry about whether you're going to have a job. You can't worry about the possibility of us conducting or getting this terrible disease or virus. But what you can focus on is what's immediately within your control. And I aim to help you with that today. So as we wrap up today, we are going to calculate success based solely on whether I was able to offer you an interruption to your day. So I aim to do that 2 ways. The first thing I want to do is I want to have some fun every single day, all day. You guys want to have some fun? Say yes.
Yes.
I heard that, Charlie. I knew it. I know you guys are doing it too. Let's go. The second thing is I want to leave you guys with some very tactical information. Because believe it or not, many of you guys know me. I'm a little out there. I'm over the top. I know that my enthusiasm and energy doesn't resonate with all of you. My goal is not to connect with you at my level. My goal is to say what you need to say when you, or say what you need to hear when you need to hear it. And that means that it could possibly not be today. You could hear something and not be paying attention because you're working email or you're trying to manage children right now, whatever it may be. But ultimately, the time is going to come where something that was said today collectively together is going to resonate with you. And it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. And it's going to hit you exactly when you need it. So we're going to have some fun. I'm going to leave you with some relevant information. In order to do so, you guys know the deal. I am going to focus more on what's lifting us up as opposed to what's not. So ladies and gentlemen, what is good? It is all good. Do me a favor. I know that many of us are new to this webinar platform and Zoom. I want everybody, if you would please, go down to the bottom of your screen of the Zoom call, and I want you to select the chat option. If you haven't seen it yet, I want you to select the chat option. Now in that, you have the ability to send us notes and chats. I want to hear what you have to say. We want to see what you guys are doing that's good in your life right now. So as such, tell me one thing that's good in your life right now via chat. Go now, type them in. What's good right now?
Family dinner,
Let's go.
staying alive, enjoying the Arizona sunshine, healthy, my family, camping, spending time with my kids, my husband. I still have a job, multitasking.
Look at it. Look at it. Look at the messages just piling up. Oh my goodness. Guys, I saw this recently on Twitter. um, actually, it was last night. This gentleman posts a tweet that says, if anyone figures out the right answer to how you doing, please let me know. How many times do we go about our day and we ask folks, how are you doing? And right now, when everybody is battling their mental health, everybody is in their feelings, trying to figure out how to progress through the day, how we're doing right now might not necessarily be great. So instead of asking the question, how are you doing? Maybe we could tend to ask questions like, what's good? What's the best thing that has happened to you today? What are you thankful for? Now, that to me is all about connecting to life through fun. Now, many of you that are on this webinar, you know me. We've either grown up together, we've experienced each other at a keynote, you've potentially went to high school, or maybe I'm married to you. Shout out to Melissa with the kiddos. Ultimately, you know that I am over the top. I believe wholeheartedly in fun. But what many of you don't know is that everything that I do for the most part is very deliberate. It's deliberate in the sense that my mother used to tell me that I had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Now, let's dig a little deeper there, because everybody right now is talking about this pandemic and the impact that it has, not just financially on our economy and whatnot, but to families and ultimately well-being. And everybody's out there, we're trying to make hand sanitizer and develop more testing and masks and all that stuff. But the one thing that's not getting enough run, in my personal opinion, is the impact that this thing is playing on mental health. And the reason why I think that it's not getting as much run as it should be is because we as a society are a product of what's in front of us right now. And as the bulk of us are trying to self-quarantine and stay at home for the benefit not just of ourselves but others, we're not necessarily interacting with others enough to see how much it's challenging people's mindset. And so as we come through on the other side and we get outside and we start to regroup and live lives as we once did, I think that what we'll find is mental health, depression, anxiety, and fear are all something that you're going to see a lot more of, and that's okay. So just a level set of who we're talking with. Charlie, do me a favor, throw up a poll. How many of you out there, yes or no, have experienced some form of depression, fear, or anxiety? Yes or no? How many of you have experienced some form of depression, fear, or anxiety?
Guys,
now,
in the chat, if you can see it, tell us. I see it coming in, 96%. We've got hundreds and hundreds of people saying, yeah.
Beautiful. So as you progress through your day, as you progress through your week, as you progress through your month, as you progress through your year and your life, look at this number. He's saying that we're at 97% right now. If you haven't felt some form of depression, anxiety, or fear, it's coming. It's inevitable. It's something that's natural. And feeling that sense of discomfort and awkwardness is what makes all the great things that we get to feel and achieve in life that much more impactful. So just a little insight into who you're chatting with today. Something that runs rampant in my life and our DNA is mental health. Specifically, I have individual family members that might even be on this webinar diagnosed with schizophrenia. I have the person that I look up to more than anybody in this world, the person that I was named after, Mr. Paul Joseph Strawler, my grandfather. He was an individual that, oh my goodness, he was the funniest guy. I loved him. He had the driest sense of humor, but he battled deep anxiety and depression. So much so that he would lay in bed for hours and days on end. And he wouldn't get up to face his fears. I battle depression and anxiety. And how I go about combating that is I gravitate more towards the things that lift me up. I focus on what gives me strength, my Fundamism, if you will. So do me a favor, jot down in the chat, how does your fear, anxiety, depression manifest itself in your day? So specifically, mine manifests itself in laziness. I have a tendency to lay in bed. I don't want to get up. Potentially I'll sleep a lot more. Lack of motivation, I'm seeing Matt say. I can't sleep. Inactivity. I play a lot of video games sometimes, And one would think that that's an interrupter, but actually it's an escape for me. So look at all the ways that this depression and anxiety, overeating, sleep, tiredness, look at this, eating and drinking. Guys, all of these things are common. They're what we all experience. And so to be able to combat that, what you see in my videos and my silliness and sometimes my over enthusiasm is a deliberate approach for me to interrupt those brain patterns, to force myself up out of that moment and do something that gives me strength. It's what I call Fundamism. Again, it's called Fundamism. So simply put, they're the fundamentals of a fun and optimistic lifestyle. Now, for me, what this serves as is a brain pattern interrupt. If any of you guys have ever been in a mindfulness training or attended a meditation seminar or something like that, there's a lot of talk in that space, mindfulness, about brain pattern interrupts. And so much so that Trish Thorpe from the Chopra Center, she actually defined brain pattern interrupts as a pattern interrupt, speaking in terms of a technique that's a way of changing a person's mental, emotional, or behavioral state or strategy. Developing the skill set for creating a pattern interrupt can help you learn new behaviors that lead you powerfully forward toward living a more intentional, passion-filled life. So you see the little graphic there on the right-hand side. You got 4 lamps that are all down and out, and you have 1 lamp that's up, shining brightly. What that is a brain pattern interrupt. So when you're in that space of struggle and laziness and inactivity or whatever it may be, the key is you have to force yourself up to do something different. You have to enact a brain pattern interrupt. Now, again, I call that Fundamism. So as the fundamentals of the fun and optimistic lifestyle are my brain interruptions and will serve as yours moving forward, what do you do for fun currently? What are you guys doing for fun right now in quarantine life to keep your mind right, to keep anxiety, depression, and fear from setting in? Charlie, give me some that resonate with you.
Drawing, art, reading, learning how to play the guitar, puzzles, playing music, watching Netflix, reading, walking the dog.
Yes, all of these things are brain pattern interrupts. Whatever you do for fun is a fundamental of a fun and optimistic lifestyle. They're the things that challenge you to get out of your head and challenge that mental state to do something different. Now, I myself, I love to have fun, as you guys all know. One of the things that I'm doing as a brain pattern interrupt in my day right now is I'm starting each and every single day off with a fun music video. It has a brief message, and ultimately I pick a song that means something to me because I believe that music is powerful. Whatever you want to feel, you could find a song that's going to evoke that emotion. So in the Long household, we have a lot of dance parties going on. We have a lot of singing. We have a lot of acting silly, playing games while music is playing in the background. So just as a preview of the type of shenanigans that I'm getting into, and if you want to follow along in this fun journey with music, feel free to follow me at Paul J. Long on Facebook or Instagram at Fundamism Paul. Here's a little taste of what we're doing.
Hey Alexa, what is good?
Silly? Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Warmly welcomed for some? I believe so. The comments that we're getting related to these silly videos and the escape that they're providing individuals just in a brief 1 to 3 minute bit is nothing short of breathtaking to me. One could never imagine, I could never imagine how these silly interrupts could potentially help somebody through a trying time. But you're completely capable of doing that. I'm not a great singer. I'm not even a great dancer. But what I realized is people do not care. One of my favorite quotes is, don't worry about what people think about you because they don't think about you. And what you'll find is as I post these silly songs or videos or whatever it may be, there are a lot of songs that are completely out of my range. I did Mariah Carey the other day. Newsflash, I can't hit that high C. But it didn't matter because the thought of doing something different and stretching myself and helping others see that it's okay to be vulnerable and authentic and genuine provided an escape. So what are your brain pattern interrupters? What are your fundamentals of a fun and optimistic lifestyle? In order to figure out what yours are, it might help to identify a few more that work for me. So let's talk through what those might look like. We just talked about music and listening with intent. Now, many of you that have seen me speak before, you know that there's a difference between turning the radio on and whatever happens, and finding a specific song that makes you evoke a certain emotion. You know, songs that are really resonating with me right now are Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy. Go West, the king of wishful thinking. Type down in the comments below, what are some songs that really lift your spirits or that you like listening to right now as you're either in your car or at home in quarantine life? Charlie, give me a few.
Man in the Mirror.
Ooh.
Dance Monkey. This Is How We Do It. Get Up. Lovely Day. This Is My Fight Song. Anything by Queen. Good Vibration.
Yes. Man, I heard some good ones. I heard Good Vibrations. I heard some Bill Withers there. R.I.P. to one of the greats, Bill Withers. All of these are solid choices. My goodness, why have I not done a Michael Jackson song yet? But guys, the power of music and identifying songs that maybe you grew up on that you haven't heard in a long time, it brings back some sense of nostalgia and joy. And it serves as a brain pattern interrupter to get you out of whatever mental state you're currently in. So that particular fundamental is listen with intent. Be more deliberate about the things that you're inviting into your day. Get outside. Now, many of you guys know that there's a lot of power outside. I myself right now, I'm sporting my, if you can see, sporting my Hawaiian shirt because I'm dressed for where I aspire to be or where I want to be right now. So going outside, there's a number of different things that we can do. So specifically in the Long household right now, what we like to do is we go outside in the morning when it's nice and we're playing Foursquare. We got sidewalk chalk and we've drawn 4 different squares and the kids sit in the squares. Mom and dad sit in the square. We have a circle right in the middle and we bounce the ball to one of the children and they have to catch it or they're out. In addition to that, we like to go on walks, but instead of just going for walks and whatever happens, be more deliberate in interrupting those brain patterns. Go outside and set a goal of seeing 3 birds, breaking 1 stick, kicking 3 rocks, skipping 5 yards, waving to 3 strangers. All of these things make you very cognizant on what you're doing and deliberate and present in the moment. Challenge yourself to do things just a little bit differently. What are you guys doing right now outside that is helping interrupt your brain patterns and ultimately bring you more strength? Charlie, what do we get?
We are getting gardening, barbecue, watching my son stomp in puddles, lots of gardening, biking, running, walking through the park, walking around the farm, home crafts.
Yes.
Driving with loud music, photography. It snowed today in Iowa. Did you guys get snow down there? A lot of people are commenting on this.
We did not. It's
hockey, climbing trees.
So all of these things are wonderful brain pattern interrupters or fundamentals of a fun and optimistic lifestyle. Right now is an opportunity for each and every single one of us on this webinar and in life to realize that the power to conduct a day the way that we want it to be conducted lies right here in our hearts and in our brains. Right now, you know, what I find is amazing about this whole phenomenon is we have relied so heavily on the universe and outside forces to provide fulfillment for us. We look to our jobs or our friends or whatever it may be, outside influencers, the bar or movie theaters to lift us up. And now we don't have any of that. What we have are those closest to us and our own minds. So no one's judging you. Right now, this is your opportunity to get more in tune with yourself. Be more childlike. Go outside and do things that you did as a child, but for one reason or the other, you got away from them. So the two fundamentals that we've shared thus far, listening with intent, that's music and conversation, getting outside. Maybe, just maybe, you guys are really threatened with monotony. And that's challenging right now, doing the same thing over and over and over again, especially when you're up in a routine. I saw somebody write into the chat earlier, you know, I'm sticking to a routine and it's keeping my mind right. So as you stick to a routine, try to introduce new things that are going to provide that brain pattern interrupt for you. So for example, one thing that you might potentially be able to do is allow the kids, children, if you have them, to come up with a costume theme for the week. So every single day, we have to dress up somewhat differently. You know, you guys see me right now. I'm sporting the goods. Jacob Rep, you know I like the bow ties. Many of you guys know the bow tie. It is the brand, the Fundamism brand. But what you guys can't see right now is the rest of me. I didn't know what is etiquette for a webinar. Is it acceptable to wear joggers with an overcoat? Is it acceptable to wear UGG slippers? I don't know. I don't know. You know, many people say that you can't wear suspenders with a belt, but do you wear a belt with joggers? I don't know. See, this is a new spin on dressing up, doing things a little bit differently, challenging the monotony of your day. If you don't start out your day with music, try a good song. If you're not reading right now, introduce a new book. If indeed you're into Netflix or Amazon Prime, watch Jack Ryan. I just saw it for the first time the other day, and it is amazing. What are you guys doing right now? If you think about the monotony of your day, what are you doing right now to challenge that, to put a new spin on things that you do each and every single day? Give me some ideas of new spins that you're doing out there. I know several of you on the webinar today are stay-at-home moms and have been homeschooling your children. What are you doing to keep it fresh and fun?
I love wearing my Uggs.
Yes.
Exercising in my closet. Snowball fights. Baking
Yes.
bread. I did that this week. Yoga. I did that this week. New video game. Organizing. Putting puzzles together. New leggings every day. Zoom socials. Outdoor YouTube classes. New recipes. Books. Baking a new dish every day. Kickboxing.
With my dog.
These are great. Folks, you're asking the chats. Zoom has advised that we keep the chats private. So we're seeing all your chats and we love it. So keep them coming. Thank you.
Guys, these are nothing short of amazing. These are ways to take the same thing that you do every single day and jumpstart them. Put a new spin on them. Brush your teeth with the opposite hand. Incorporate dad jokes in your day. I am so proud to announce, I haven't told anybody this, that a local affiliate here in Kansas City is teaming up with me to do 1 minute of fun every single week on the news in the morning show. And we start Monday at 8:15 here in Kansas City. And the topic of discussion in our 1 minute of fun is dad jokes. So think about that. Think about putting a fishbowl out where the family can actually write out phrases, like any phrase. Your kids could do it, you could do it. You put all the phrases in a fishbowl or in a bowl, a mixing bowl, and each day you pull out one of those phrases. And your family has to use that phrase seamlessly throughout your interactions in the day. That's a new spin. That is a brain pattern interrupter for the things that we're all going through right now. So what I'm asking you to do right now is stretch yourselves, because we get so wrapped up in who we are and what we know that we get comfortable. Now, right now, more than ever, is an opportunity for you, because the universe is creating it for you, to stretch yourself. And nobody's judging you. No one's here thinking about your dance moves or your singing or the silly thing that you said, because you're literally either alone with yourself or with your family. So this gives you the opportunity to stretch yourself and do things that maybe, just maybe, you wouldn't believe that were possible before. This is an opportunity for you to build confidence. Get out of your proverbial comfort zone and try something new. To ultimately think bigger. Because right now, everything, I consistently hear people right now telling me, well, historically, we've done it this way. Or the thing that we typically do is this. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not living in historic times right now. This is unprecedented, uncharted waters. So we have to get beyond what we've come to know and love and think bigger beyond that. Specifically, one of the things that I like to do and incorporate in my day are podcasts. I thoroughly enjoy podcasts. Many of you know that I have one. It's called the Fundamism podcast. It could be found on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere that you download podcasts. But I am a diehard Chiefs fan. And I recently had the opportunity to interview Travis Kelce, a perennial all-pro player for the Kansas City Chiefs and Super Bowl champ. And I asked him, what does he do to get through tumultuous times? When he was dealing with the most challenging moment in his whole entire life, what did he do to get through it? And this is what he said on the podcast.
What helped you get through that moment? That's what I call fundamism. What are the things that you did to get out of that negative space?
Well, the first thing I did was I found a new routine.
Okay.
That is the biggest thing. I mean, I don't necessarily, it was never the people I was around. It was always my decision making. So that's the first thing you have to do is, own it.
Yep.
Own it. Whatever it is that you're going through, own it. If it isn't, even if it isn't under your control, the only power you have in this world is making a decision. That is it.
Yes.
There's always going to be someone stronger than you. There's always going to be someone more powerful, faster, more agile in terms of athletics. But even outside of athletics in the business world, there's always going to be someone with that much more.
Yeah, smarter, tenacity,
smarter,
whatever it may be.
Whatever it is, that's their characteristics. But nobody has more power than you than when you make a decision.
What did Travis say that resonated with you? Many of you guys have seen that clip before, but one thing that really resonates with me, I hope that you took away. Lindsay says, own it. Guys, be me. Yes, own what you're going through. It's so easy right now, more than ever, to be able to point a finger at all the things outside of your control. Who would have thought that all of a sudden, one day you'd wake up and the world would stop? Like, we wouldn't be certain if we'd have a job. You wouldn't be certain if you had revenue. You wouldn't be certain if our loved ones were safe. Like, who could have ever imagined that we'd see that in our lifetime? And in this moment, what we're doing is it's easy to point fingers and say, well, I hope that the government takes care of us, or I hope that my employer can stay open long enough, or whatever it may be. It's all out of our control. It's 100% out of your control. The universe giveth and the universe taketh away. So all we could do right now is own our role in the environment in which we live. That means gravitate towards your fundamentals. Do more of what lifts you up and makes you smile, as opposed to the things that don't. Create brain pattern interrupters so you don't get so wrapped up in the stuff that brings you down. What we're talking about is something that this young man, many of you know and love, did on a regular basis. Changed my life. This young man, Noah Wilson, at the age of 6, was diagnosed with a very rare form of pediatric cancer called Ewing sarcoma. And he leveraged that opportunity to do something different, to stretch himself, to shower others with love and appreciation. See, one day he's getting an IV in, and he looks at the doctor after seeing this boring brown Band-Aid on his arm, and he says, "Ma'am, do you have any fun bandages? Do you have any Marvel Avenger bandages?" And she says, "I'm sorry, Noah, we don't." And this little 6-year-old boy looks at his mom directly into her eyes and says, well, they're about to. And what he does that night is he goes home and he gets a bucket. And the bucket that you see before you is the exact same bucket that he got. And he decorated a sign. If you could read it there, it says, "If you have any Band-Aids, put them in this bucket for Children's Mercy Hospital." Now, what happened is the parents of Mr. Scott Wilson, close friends of mine, Mr. Noah Wilson, parents Scott and Deb took a photo, as you see before, and they posted it on Facebook after putting this bucket out on their front porch. Ultimately, by the end of the week, that bucket was full with individuals coming and placing little bandages in this bucket because they realized that bandages are so much more impactful to children than they are adults. See, to us, it's just a brown Band-Aid that covers a wound, but to a child going through the struggle, it's something that says, I've seen something terrible and I've made it through to the other side. Now, I am such an advocate of Noah's Bandage Project, and this kid changed my life so much that I've decided to make it my life goal to help raise awareness for pediatric cancer research. Just for being on this webinar today, and if indeed you guys own the book or a shirt or anything like that, you guys have actually supported Noah's Bandage Project unknowingly. Here's what you've effectively become a part of.
Two years ago, I was fortunate enough to meet Noah at the K. Eric Hosmer introduced me to him and his wonderful family, and I've been really blessed to be able to be a part of Noah's Bandage Project. I didn't know that at the time, 43 kids in the U.S., just like Noah, would be diagnosed that day and every day with cancer. I also didn't know that 6 children would lose their lives from this disease every single day. My name is Danny Duffy. I'm a pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, and I'm teaming up with Noah's Bandage Project to help fund research for pediatric cancer. It's really bothersome that 4% of all federal research funding goes to pediatric cancer, and we're going to be the change that we want to see. I think that kids should be given hope, and they should have that fighting chance. Noah's Bandage Project is leading the way in funding targeted pediatric cancer research, which will help reduce side effects and ultimately bring cures for childhood cancer.
When I first started going to the hospital and everything, I used to get a lot of pokes and everything, and all I got were like brown band-aids. And I didn't like brown band-aids, so I decided to start a bandage project. So then we put it on Facebook, and then it just gone viral. So everybody.
If one patient can have an idea that can then impact the hospital's buying policy, and can impact our supply chain, well, here's an example of a kid who changed the way we do business and changed the way that other kids are receiving care because he had an idea.
I never knew this, but they gave like band-aids that I never noticed. They gave like macaroni and cheese band-aids, bacon band-aids, pickle band-aids, Abraham Lincoln band-aids, must-this band-aids, kiss band-aids, all those different kinds.
Hey guys, I'm Danny Duffy with the Kansas City Royals.
Hey, it's Eric Stone Street from Modern Family.
Hi, I'm Cassie Joy from The Voice on Team Blake.
Anyway, thank you for supporting Noah's Bandage Project.
So that's my guy, Mr. Noah Wilson. I've seen that video, and I've interacted with so many children and individuals through my travels, and right here in Kansas City that have been challenged with disease and with cancer and heck with COVID-19. And when I see individuals like Noah and how they leverage his experience and what some would deem to be a challenge, I can't help but be inspired because the 6-year-old kid leveraged this platform to change the way that hospitals order supplies at the age of 6. I think about what I was doing at the age of 6 and I'm embarrassed. But ultimately what I know is if this kid could do it at the age of 6 and get through the most challenging moment in his life, we can too. We'll get through this time. And we'll get through it by focusing on what lifts us up as opposed to what doesn't. Now, again, what we talked about a little bit before are these brain pattern interrupters and ultimately what I call fundamentals. I had the opportunity to visit Noah in the hospital when he was going through his struggle. And for those of you curious, Noah lost his battle with death, as many as everybody on this webinar will, but he won his battle with life because he left a lasting legacy that lifted other people up and successfully has created a 501c3 that not just collects fund bandages, but provides funding for pediatric cancer research. So ultimately, I got the opportunity to meet this boy in the hospital, and I sat down in his bed, and the first thing we started talking about were the Royals. I'm a diehard Royals fan, and this kid was their #1 fan. So we start talking about the Royals, and he smiles. And then I ask him, many of you guys probably haven't heard this story, but some of you have. I ask him what he thinks about these crazy catsuit guys and the guys that go out to the Royal Stadium and wear these silly costumes, which is, newsflash, me. And he laughs and chuckles. And then I ask him about his favorite Marvel Avenger, and he loses it. He loses it and smiles in joy. Everything that was discussed in that moment was defined as a fundamental. In that moment, what we were doing were providing brain pattern interrupters, and what he wasn't doing was focusing on the things that tear him down. He wasn't focused on his cancer. He was focused on the things that lifted him up. That's what I'm asking for you guys to challenge yourself to do today. Challenge yourself to create more brain pattern interrupters and live more fundamentals in your life and to help others get out of their mental space as well. I call it connecting to life through fun. The F stands for foundation. Fun is an acronym. Are you a victim or are you victor? The only difference between these two is short-term memory. You will feel better with time. When you're going through the struggle, what we have to do is we have to take a step back and reflect. Ask myself a question like, how did I get here? What ultimately can I learn from this situation? How can I improve as a result? Grieve if you need to. But ultimately, you have to gravitate towards that victor's mentality and have that short-term memory through your fundamentals or a brain pattern interrupter, and things will get better. You can't dwell on the stuff that's not working. It starts with being present, deliberate, and living life with purpose. Guys, many of you know that I have a daughter, our loving daughter. My wife and I, we have 2 children, Adeline Grace and Brennan Royal. Brennan, of course, was named after Will Ferrell's character in Step Brothers and the 2014 World Series run. Adeline is an absolute saint, and she came home from school when school was actually a thing, physical school, and taught me something that really resonated with me, and I want to share it with you now.
The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control.
What did little Adeline Grace say that resonated with you? Give me a word that she said that jumped out at you.
Joy, kindness, love, peace, faithfulness, self-control, patience.
All of these things, thank you, Charlie. Every single thing that Adeline just stated are things that are going to help us, not just through this tumultuous time, but help us on the other side of it. What's going to get us through everything that we're coping and dealing with right now is love, kindness, joy, peace, faithfulness. We have to find a way to get back to our roots, showing a genuine interest in others, living our fun, believing in our personal foundation, and being more childlike. Moving on to the U in fun, understanding others' perspectives. We're all different. Have you ever wondered why? This gentleman by the name of Richard Stepp years ago, he put some personality styles and aligned them with birds. He called it dope. Again, he called it dope. The D stands for dove. The O is the owl. The P is the peacock, and the E is the eagle. Doves are known for being love and peaceful. They're the individuals that would drop everything that they're doing to make you feel better. They move very, very slow because they're always worried about everybody else, and they're very warm. The O is the owl. They're very wise and structured, detail-oriented. As such, they move very slow because they're always weighing the pros and cons of everything. But they're somewhat cold, not with ill intent. It's just that they're in their head so much, they're not always present. The P is the peacock. And they're individuals known for flamboyance and being loud and the center of attention and fun. We move very, very fast and are very warm. And lastly, the E is the eagle, the natural born leader, the individual that you'll follow into battle because they got a plan and they'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. They don't have time for everybody's feelings. So they move very, very fast and are somewhat cold. Guys, as you meet people, as you're in quarantine life and you're struggling, I had the most wonderful phone call yesterday from a friend that lives out in Washington. And he's a gentleman that we haven't connected in some time. And he called me and he said, Paul, I got to tell you, something's been burdening me. And I said, well, what is it? Coincidentally, his name is Paul. He said, man, I just been in my head about our relationship. I feel like we haven't chatted much, and it's made me reflect on where we are and where I want it to be. I consider you to be one of my top 3 friends and an individual that has made a great impact in my life. And it bothers me that I haven't reached out as much as I should. Do you know what level of humility it takes to be able to reach out and place that phone call? To understand some other's perspective and realize that maybe, just maybe, you have the opportunity to lift somebody else up. To be more curious about an individual rather than furious about who they are or who they aren't. Learn other personality styles and be able to transition your communication style to meet them where they are by expressing a kindness and a genuine interest in others. Moving on to the N in fun, because without the N in fun, ladies and gentlemen, it's just F.U. This is our tactical roadmap, if you will. These are our brain pattern interrupters. Embrace a victor's mentality. Live with purpose and allow itself to manifest in all that you do. Work to understand the perspective of others by asking meaningful questions. What are some of these questions you might ask? You know what? I challenge you tonight. Ask your spouse, who is your favorite celebrity crush or hero growing up? What was the best vacation that you ever went on? Who's your favorite comic and why? When was the last time you had a gut-busting laughter? What was the best concert you ever went to? Tell me about an individual in your life that really gives you strength, a leader that made an impact. All of these conversations, all of these questions force you as a brain pattern interrupter to stop with the monotonous interactions and start focusing on things that lift people up and make them smile. At the end of the day, what I'm asking everybody to do, what I'm challenging you all to do, is gravitate more towards the things that lift you up as opposed to the things that don't. Now, I've been sitting here doing this webinar for roughly 45 minutes, and I've gotten 50 plus individuals that have connected with me on social media. That means the world to me. That means that this message, for one reason or the other, has resonated with a few. I want you right now to make this as relevant as possible, to present me any questions that you may have as an open forum Q&A. Charlie, I want you to, if you don't mind, identify some of these questions that you feel would be relevant and helpful for the group to hear. And I'll do my best at taking a stab at them or posing that same question to the group.
And gang, you can send a question in either through the Q&A function or through the chat function. We're watching both of them. And if you hang on for a few more minutes, we're going to have one last special guest for you today, and something I know you'll all be interested in. So we're taking the questions now. Coming in from Craig. What is your favorite Halloween costume, Paul?
Oh my goodness, man, Craig, you know the deal, man. I really love to dress up. I am a huge fan of mullet wigs. I love to ultimately be characters in movies. One of my personal favorite costumes of all time is this little gem. That, of course, is Paul Rudd and me holding my beautiful daughter at the time. I'm trying to figure out what my next costume will be, Craig. So what and I probably need a little support from you, my friend. What I may end up going with is some gem like this. You know, this is super relevant right now, super hot, Joe Exotic. If you haven't seen Tiger King, please tune in because it is an absolute train wreck. What else we got?
You know, Paul, a lot of people recognize that your daughter, I think, was speaking from the Beatitudes. And so we're getting questions about that and if your faith background informs your Fundamism approach.
What an awesome question. So you're 100% accurate. What you heard my daughter recite is something called the fruits of the Spirit. We send our daughter and son to a, what is that, parochial school. I'm not very intelligent when it comes to religion. So to answer your question, I am a very faith-driven individual. I believe that there is someone or something far bigger than ourselves, and the universe is an amazing place filled with energy. I believe that if you throw good out into the world, good will come back, and that's how I've always lived my life, and I can honestly tell you that as a result, life has been okay.
Here, I think Holly was listening. She says, what's the best part of your day been today?
Oh my goodness. So we're in quarantine life right now, and that means that we're all a little more sensitive to things going on and maybe a little less patient. And I feel as though my son, our daughter, have been really testing and pushing the limits recently. And as a result of that, I felt like I've been getting on to my daughter a lot. She's 7, and she's just the cutest thing, as you saw, and I love her so much. But I just feel as though I'm just getting on to her so much that I felt like there's kind of a rift between us, like just a barrier, if you will. My 7-year-old daughter comes up to me and she says to me this morning, I'm so glad to have a daddy like you. And I said, oh my gosh, with tears in my eyes, why do you say that? And she said, because you're so fun and you teach us right. And I couldn't believe it. Holly, that is the best thing that's happened to me today. Let's take 2 more questions if we have them.
All right. Let's see. I heard some great quotes in your presentation, but somebody's asking what your favorite quote is.
Those of you that know me know that the inspiration for me to become a speaker came from a gentleman by the name of Keith Harrell, whose whole bit was attitude is everything. And he used to tell a story of his grandma whenever Keith was challenged and he was judging people. If you go back to understanding others' perspectives, his grandma used to tell him, she said, Keith, don't ever judge the face if you can't judge the heart. You never know where someone's been in life and you don't know what they're going through. Growing up, your grandma or somebody in your life gave you so many smiles. So if someone doesn't have one, you bless them with one of your own.
I love that. The quote I heard that you said, which has been my mantra for a long time, is be the change you want to see in the world. I think that's often credited to Gandhi. I heard you in the presentation say that. It's wonderful.
Sure.
Okay, here's a good last one from Caitlin. She says, if there's one thing you'd want us to absolutely take away from today and never ever forget, what would it be and why?
So I struggle with this question a lot because I have, I believe so strongly, as you could see, I'm so passionate about this concept. I don't care if anybody ever remembers my name. I don't care if you guys walk away and never hear the name Paul J. Long again. What I hope that every single person in this webinar takes away, not just in this webinar, but every interaction that we have, is that everybody is challenged with something. And Fundamism, what I define as Fundamism, what you might define as a brain pattern interrupter or an escape or whatever it may be, can help you get out of that trying time. And so by forcing yourself up, even when you're convinced that you can't or don't want to, by forcing yourself up and doing something that makes you smile, I promise you, I guarantee it, your mindset will start to shift. At the end of the day, guys, we had one goal, if you recall. I wanted to challenge each and every single one of you to provide more interrupters into your day. And that was my goal for myself on this webinar. So Charlie, last poll, if you don't mind, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being, yes, we provided a pleasant interruption to your day. 1 being, no, we blew it. Tell us, how effective were we today? 5 being, yep, we added a pleasant interrupter to your day. 1 being, no, we didn't. Ultimately, guys, as we wrap this thing up and I transition back to Charlie, I want to let you know that I have done hundreds of presentations in my life. None was I more honored and excited to do than this one right here. Everybody's challenged. I'm challenged right now. I've struggled with mental health, my life too. You're not alone. We can get through this together. From the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Go have some fun today. Be safe and smile often.
Paul, absolutely awesome. I can't thank you enough. Really hard to express the gratitude that we feel towards you today and sharing your journey with us. Next, we got one more special guest for you today before we sign off here. We've got a new program launching for you. We're talking about how to take opportunity in times of adversity, and we've got a great opportunity here for you. And next, we're going to invite up Lance Farrell.
Hey, thanks, Charlie. Can you hear me?
We can hear you great.
All right, super. You know what? So I want to do something that Paul was talking about, and that's a brain interrupt or brain pattern interrupt. So he talked about that a lot, and I'm going to challenge you guys. We're going to be offering some classes for the next 30 days, and they're going to be as easy or as hard as you want to make them, depending on what you put into it. So it's totally something anybody can do. If you got cabin fever, you want to do something, you're itching to try something new to get that brain pattern interrupt, I think this might be something for you. We know it takes 21 days to change a habit. So we're thinking this is long enough time for you to get in a really good habit. And when you talk about doing kickboxing, once again, we're going to show the basics. That's how to do a jab, how to do a cross, upper, all the basics. It's going to help you sleep better, give you mental clarity. The self-defense aspect is something people overlook, the hand-eye coordination. But bigger than anything, it's a stress reliever. It's like a mini vacation. So that's part of this. Then we're going to get into some strength training. Man, the strength training is what builds your fat burning machine. It helps you get that fat loss going, helps prevent injuries, tighten your abs, engage the large and stabilizing muscles. It's just a really great way to feel strong and gain some energy. And then the last part of this class every time is going to include stretching. And we have Sherry Mongar, one of our first, actually our very first kickboxing instructor, Todd and I trained for 20 years ago. She's going to show you how to do some really good stretching, but not only when you're in the class, but when you're driving your car or when you're at home, just some simple stuff. So things you can apply all the time. I'm going to bring Todd in here, and he's going to talk a little about the basics, and I'm going to come back in at the very end. So here's Todd.
Lance, as you bring in Todd, turn on your camera because we can't see it right now.
You didn't want to see me anyway.
Oh, we had you there for a second. Now we got you.
Okay, there you are. Okay, here's Todd.
Hey, thanks everyone. I'm really excited to work with you tomorrow on the basics of our kickboxing and strength training program. As Lance said, Sherry's going to lead you through some stretches. For tomorrow's session, we are going to focus on the basics. So if you've never done Farrell's before, we're going to really start from the stance. I'm going to show you the 4 basic techniques that we will do in a class. And then we're even going to do a warm-up, which, will elevate your heart rate and hopefully get you to sweat. After that, we're going to do some basic strength training exercises. We've got 5 exercises that we're going to do. We're going to do each exercise, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to offer some modifications for the exercises too. And then we're going to do a short routine, strength training routine that you can build on through the rest of the week. And like I said, at the end, Sherry is going to lead us through some full body stretches to help you cool down and increase blood flow. So really excited to work with you tomorrow night, and we'll be at the gym to do that.
All right, awesome. So I'm back just to say I challenge you guys, because you know what? There's some things out there you cannot control. You can control your fitness. And so what we want to do is help bring you better fitness, make you stronger, bring you that mental clarity that you're looking for. And we call it Life at Level 10. So I'm going to challenge you guys to join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's just have fun, and let's get that brain pattern interrupt going.
I love it. Lance, thank you so much. I want to just remind everybody this program is absolutely free for anybody in the NAMI audience. So just go back to the website at weareherewithyou.com. Scroll down to the bottom, you'll find the fitness program, enter your information there, and then we're going to get you the information on how to tune in. I got a comment here, Lance, I got to share with you from our board vice chair, Matt Conley, who's been on the NAMI board for years and years. He said, I started Farrell's as my initial venture into physical health as I was a few years into my mental health recovery. I've been able to at least keep off 25 pounds and been on the wellness path ever since. My family does FXB and Taekwondo. Our community is so lucky to have Farrell's Enterprise, keeping us fit and learning self-defense. We got another comment here from Matt saying, in honor of his birthday tomorrow, he's going to be doing 57 push-ups after class. So great reception.
Lance, by that, guys. So 5 o'clock tomorrow, Thursday.
Yeah, and if they tune into the live program, they'll get access to the full online program after that. So super psyched to have you, Lance. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate
Everybody,
it.
thanks again for tuning in today. Next week, we have Holly Hoffman, who was the last woman standing on the Survivor television program, season 21 in Nicaragua. So she has got some unbelievable stories, and can't wait to see you all then. Thanks again. Thanks, Lance, and thanks, Paul. Thanks, Ashley, and especially thanks to you in the audience. Let's have a great week. Bye-bye.